let's say there is a parameter, this selection screen for the program. Okay, where, so let's say we have a report program to display employee data. Let's say we have a program which accepts employee ID as input and returns the employee department as output, which department this particular employee is working. Okay, so this is our selection screen. So this is our selection screen. When you click on execute, when you click on execute button, what are the validations we have to perform? What are the validations we have to perform on this input field? First one is
Have to write employee ID.
okay. Is there any value entered in employee ID or not? How you are going to check that? Check whether there is some value entered in employee ID or not. How you are going to check that? If p underscore empid is initial, if it is initial, what you have to do? Message
Enter the employee ID. Type.
what is the type of the message?
E.
E means error message. This is one type of validation. What is the second type of validation?
If P employee ID is less than or greater than system data.
So check the entered value is a valid value or not. You are going to know whether I have entered some value in employee ID, and how you know that that is a valid employee ID or not. But what we need to do, we have to check that entry in employee master table. The employee ID which you entered in the selection screen, if it is available in master table, what can we say? That is a valid employee ID. If it is not available in master table, what we need to display?
Error.
So that employee ID is not a valid employee ID. Okay, got right? Select single employee ID from into some variable. Since we are selecting only single value, we can take a variable where What is the where condition? Tell me the where condition here. Tell me the where
Where
condition for this.
Employee ID equal to
employee ID
Equal to
B
parameter
employee.
p underscore emp id. Since we are using
Yeah.
inline declaration, use escape character, escape sign.
Correct.
Now, if sy hyphen sub rc equal to 0, what does that mean?
it is success.
It is a valid employee
Yeah.
id. Since that employee id is available in the database, we are able to select the entered employee id from the database table, master table. So that is a valid employee id. If it is not equal to 0, what does that mean?
Message.
Enter valid employee ID. Type yes.
So user entered some value, but that is not a valid value, right? What does that mean? User entered some value, but that is not a valid value. Clear? I'll show you here. So this is the email ID, right? I'm clicking next without entering anything. What does it saying?
Enter the valid email.
Enter an email ID or phone number, right? It is first category of validation. There should be some input because it is a required field. Later I am entering some email. Some email. Click on next. What it is saying? What it is saying?
Couldn't find your Google
Could not find
Could
your
not
Gmail
find.
account. What it is doing now? It is taking this value and behind the scenes in background it is executing a
Not
select query from the email ID master table, where email ID equal to this email ID. If this value is available in email ID master table, then it is a valid value email ID. If this value is not available in email ID master table, what we need to consider? This is not a valid email ID and display the error message, right? Is it clear? Is it clear about the validations? Whenever you are writing a selection screen, whenever you are using a selection screen inputs, you should consider all these factors, right? You should implement all these validations. First you need to check with your functional consultant or who have given that requirement to know that what are the mandatory inputs here. If employee ID is the mandatory input, we have to apply these validations in which event? What is the event for validations?
that selection screen.
That selection screen. Okay, please remember this. You have to check whether there is some value in input or not. If it is a mandatory input, if user entered some value, you should not accept that value and pass it to the business logic select query. First you have to validate it whether the data entered by the user is a valid value or not. Then only use that in your business logic. Where do you write your business logic?
That selection screen.
Where? Where do you write your business logic or core functionality of the program? In which
Business
screen?
logic, start of selection.
Data
Write it
selection.
in start of selection. Okay. So we do all validations in net selection screen, passing populating default values in initialization event. So first initialization event, next at selection screen, and then start of selection. After selecting the data, display the output in which event?
End of.
End of selection. Okay, clear? So if you want the programs, please take the backup every day. Okay, so you know the program name and go to that corresponding server and take the program. Okay, because these servers are not reliable. Today I am using this one ECC 3324. Okay, because the 2021 is very slow. I will use same 2021. So this is our sample program. We'll write one more program using events.
How we will take backup for this program?
Backup means nothing, just go to the program, open it, display, copy,
Okay, like that. Okay.
copy your program to some notepad file.
A notepad text.
Today we'll take EKKO table. What is EKKO table?
Standard table.
EKKO table is for purchase orders. So what is a purchase order? What is a purchase order?
Choosing.
So let's say there is a company, Tata Cars. They need to manufacture cars, right? They used to manufacture cars, right? What are the raw materials for the cars? What are the raw materials
Tires,
to manufacture
iron,
the cars? They need tires, iron,
iron, tires,
electronic components,
glasses,
semiconductors, paint, glasses, windshield,
glasses,
okay, lights, etc. Seats, seat covers, etc. Music system. Do they manufacture everything? Do the Tata company is going to manufacture everything like
No.
tires, paints, lights? No, they are not going to manufacture. The semiconductors, chips, they are not going to manufacture. They'll buy it from the vendors. They'll buy all this raw material from suppliers or vendors. And also called suppliers or vendors, right? Before purchasing, the purchasing department will create a purchase order. They select the vendor, they accept the quotations first. So they said, okay, we need 1 ton of iron. We need 1 ton of iron to manufacture cars. So the suppliers or vendors will send their quotations. Okay, we'll supply 1 ton of iron for 10,000, and another supplier will send quotation. Okay, we'll supply 1 ton of iron for 9,000, and the expected delivery date is some March 1st. The other vendor sends a different price and expected delivery date. So by analyzing all these quotations, the purchasing department will finalize one vendor. Okay, so that vendor is going to supply the raw material. For that, what they create? Purchase order. They create purchase order. What does this purchase order contains? This purchase order contains what
Material
is the material they are purchasing from the vendor, and what is the quantity of the material,
price.
and what is the price of the material. All these things they included in a purchase order. Based on that purchase order, they buy the raw material. Okay, clear? That data, whenever the purchasing department created a purchase order, where the data is going to store? In EKKO and EKPO tables. What are the tables for purchase order? EKKO is the header table, and EKPO is the item level data. Okay, so this is the purchase order creation screen. So the business users will go to this ME21N screen and create the purchase orders. The process might be different from company to company. Transaction code is same. When you create the data and click on save, where the data is going to store? In EKKO table and EKPO table. So EKKO is the purchase order header document, EKPO is the item level data. So EKPO contains overall purchase order data, like what is the net value of this purchase order, what is the company code, what is the purchase order type, everything will have it in EKKO. What do we have in EKPO?
Item.
EKPO is item level data. So one purchase order might contain different raw materials.
Details.
One vendor might supplying different raw materials. So we create one new record for each material. In item level data, we create a separate item level record for each material. Okay. One purchase order might contain multiple items. One purchase order might contain multiple items. What is the item data? Item level record contains the material. What is the material? What is the quantity? What is the price of that material? Okay. So let's say they are buying tires and iron. Now for this purchase order contains two items. One is for iron and another one is for tires. Okay. So this is the sample data. Okay. Purchase order number and item number. Here we have material. What is the material we are purchasing? Right. Now let's write a program on it. On which table? EKPO table. Purchase order item data. So we'll take material number as input here. For the CKPO table, we will take material number as input. Okay, and then select all the purchase orders created for so and so material number. Select all the purchase orders created for this material number. We'll select it. What is the first event? What is the next event?
Selection step. Start up.
Okay. Now, what is our input? Input here for this program. So our program is to select
Parameter.
purchase orders created for particular material. Okay, all the purchase orders created for a particular material. So what is the input here?
Parameter.
Parameters p underscore
Data.
Matner is the material number field. Go to the table.
Type Matner.
So Matner is the material number field. What is the type of it? Matner is the data element. Type Matner. Okay. Now I'm not passing any default values. User has to enter the material number. After entering the material number, I have to validate the material number. What is the master data for materials?
Company code.
What is the master data for material? Material data. What is the table? Master data table for material number. Yesterday I have shown you. And even we created the program on it, but you guys don't remember it. Mara. Mara is the material master table. Yesterday I have clearly explained in detail about Mara table, including unit of measurements. You guys are not following. So Mara is the material master data. All materials should be available in Mara table. Okay. So how to validate the material number? How to validate this material number? Whether it is a valid material number or not. How you are going to validate? Just now I just explained the process.
Initial.
Selection.
Few minutes back only. We have to write select statement on master table. Right? So what is the master table for materials? What is the master table for materials? Huh?
Para.
So this is the master table for materials, MARA. Here, all materials records should be available. Then we can consider that as a valid material. Is it clear? Is it clear or confusing? Just tell me.
Yes.
మీ గురించి కాదు. What we need to write here? Sub r is equal to 0. What we are doing here, at least what we are doing here?
From
Select statement we write, sir.
selecting
Why?
single material from master.
So why we write this select statement?
We are selecting single material from the MARA table.
Why we write this select statement here? What is the use of this select statement here?
The logic, sir.
We have to
I know it's a
To-
logic, but what is the purpose of that logic?
Selecting the fields in the table.
So I don't know whether you guys are able to follow the class or not.
Single material.
I know this, we are selecting single material. I know why we write this.
it will give only that particular
Yeah, it will give only that particular value, material number,
value.
only single field value. But what is the purpose of whole purpose of this entire select statement?
Yeah, that material is exactly it is there or not. That's why we are writing.
Yeah, it is for validation.
Validation.
We are validating the material number, whether that is a valid material number or not. So we are passing that to material master data table. What is material master data table?
MARA.
MARA.
MARA. If it is a valid material number, that should be available in MARA table.
MARA table.
Otherwise, it is not a valid material number, and we should display the error message. So what do we do now? Tell me next step.
Message.
If sub r is equal to 0, what we need to
Ensure.
write?
Yes.
Message.
If sub r is equal to 0, message.
Message.
What is the message?
Enter company code.
CL demo.
So where are you listening, Sai? Do we have a company code here?
No, sir. Material number.
What do we have here?
Material number.
We are writing a select statement on material number.
Okay.
Enter.
Enter material number.
Partner. Valid partner. Valid material. Type in.
So is it a correct logic? Just observe and tell me, is it a correct logic? So what I am saying here, user entered some material number, but I don't know whether it is a proper value or not. I don't know whether it is a valid value or not. That's why I write this select statement on material master data. If my material is available, the user entered input is available in the master data table, then it is a valid material number. Otherwise, it is not a valid material number. So is it a correct logic what you have written for the validation?
Yes.
What is sub r is equal to 0 means?
The validate the if it is
Setting the status of selection.
What is the purpose of
Success
sub r
of
equal to 0?
failure.
What does it mean? Sub r equal to 0 means okay, it is successfully selected.
Success.
So then we are displaying the error message that it is not a valid material number. Is it a proper statement?
No.
Then what we need to write here?
Sub R से
Equal to 0 means it is available, it is a valid material number.
valid less than
Not equal to 0 means it is not available in the table, it is not a valid material number. Is it clear?
yes.
You have to check for negative statement here, negative conditions here, not the positive ones. In validations, always focus on negative things, whether it is a valid value or not, whether it is there is any value in the input or not. But why we write this select statement? Tell me now. Why we write this select statement?
If you write this select statement, we can find out
Valid.
that particular material info.
Marathi.
Material number is a valid material number or not? How can you say whether some value is a valid value or not?
By using
Master data. Check the master data. Okay. If I go to your college and I'll give you your roll number, where they will check for your details in their records, right?
yes.
That is the master data. If that is available in master data, that is a valid value. Otherwise, it is not a valid value. Okay. Is it clear?
Yes.
Tell me if it is confusing, I'll explain again.
No, understand clear.
I'll select some fields from EBLN, EBLP. EBLN is purchase order header document number. So every purchase order will have some number. EBLP, I'm selecting Matner and I'm selecting quantity. What is the quantity of this purchase order item? This is the, I think this is the price. NETWR is the price. Price, and every material should have unit of measurement, right? Purchase order quantity, MENG. And mains means unit of measurement. Okay.
Okay.
I'm selecting only selected fields. Please observe. We have 460 fields in this table EKPO, but I am selecting only required fields. Where Matner equal to what?
At the rate we understood.
We can do like this also. If IT underscore EKPO is not initial, what does this mean? Not initial means what?
We have at least one
Right,
record.
error
There is
message.
some record in the EKPO table. This is the class method. CLDemo output is the class method. I'll explain you how to create classes and methods later. IT underscore EKPO.
APO.
Okay, check the syntax, Control F2, activate, Control F3, maintain the text elements, selection text, material, yeah, Control F3, activate the selection text. Now, so when installation event will execute? When installation event is going to execute? Before displaying the selection screen.
Before
Now,
the displaying.
installation event execution is completed. Okay, now let's just see, whenever you see this magnifier symbol, that is a F4, when you click on F4 or click on this, you can see the values. These are all the materials available in material master data. Select the material number. I am selecting this one. And what is the next event that is going to be executed?
That's
When I click on
options.
execute, what is the next event?
Selection.
At
Start
selection
of
screen event.
Selection.
That selection screen event will execute and validate this value. Okay. So if you execute this, so we'll display the output. If you enter some incorrect value, I'm entering some incorrect value and execute. What it is saying?
Enter
Enter a valid material number. Why?
right.
Keep a breakpoint here at selection screen. I'm entering some 0 values. Click on execute. It's going to validate at the at selection screen event. So we are passing our parameter value to the select statement. Click on F5. What is the sub RC?
Four.
Above 4.
Do we have a value in LV underscore material number? It is empty. Then we are triggering the error message. Now it will not execute the remaining statements. Whenever you trigger the error message, it will not execute the remaining statements like start of selection or remaining code. Clear?
Okay.
Let's enter the valid value and execute. What is the sub RC?
0.
0. We have a material number selected. That means, okay, this material number is available in database. This is a valid material number. Now it will go to start of selection event and it will select the business data. Now here it is selecting the business data in start of selection. So it is selected 4 records. EKPO contains 4 records. 4 records with 6 fields, right? In end of selection, if IT underscore EKPO is not initial, that means if there is at least one record, display the output. Clear?
Yes.
So complexity of the program depends on the business logic. The program structure is same, but you may need to write programming lines based on the logic. So the meeting is about to end. So we'll discuss the new topics tomorrow. Okay.